Hello, I am what you need. You're watching my channel. If you like what you see, you can like, share, subscribe. You can also donate via PayPal. The link is in the description. All praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God comes first, always, in all our lives. This stream is brought to you by LIV Products. LIVE, live now, we're live now. We have a number of different flavors. We now introduce punches to the equation. Some of the flavors you see in front of you. Let me show you the other flavors that are also present. So we have, in terms of flavors, we have punches, we have beetroot, peanut, and pumpkin punches. We also have drinks. We have natural fruit juices such as sorrel, orange, lime, and over here we also have fruit punch, morbi, and guava. If you live in the Trinidad and Tobago area, you can place your order today. LIV, live now. We are live now. Want to talk some boxing? As you can see, there are a number of different topics that we're going to talk about. First of all, of course, Alexander Usyk, a remarkable two-divisional undisputed world champion. Of course, he wasn't undisputed when he beat Tyson Fury the second time, but he has two wins over, and again, uncontroversial wins over Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, two of the top 10 heavyweights in the heavyweight division. And so when we look at Alexander Usyk, a lot of people are asking if he's an all-time great. I do believe he is. I don't think he's a top 10 all-time great yet, but his accomplishments are incredible. Remember, he's also undefeated as we talk about this. In addition, some people are going as far as to say that Alexander Usyk is a much higher ranked all-time great than Floyd Mayweather. Now, that's a stretch. I heard certain YouTube channels purporting this, and some even trying to agree with that, which is ridiculous. But we'll go into it anyway, and we'll address that because I put it in my topic, so we'll address that. But that's, he had some great wins over some of the best heavyweights in the heavyweight division. But I wouldn't put him all the way up there with Floyd Mayweather. I just wouldn't do that. Not yet. But is he an all-time great? I think he's already a legend in the sport. He's been dominating the sport for quite a while now. Undisputably the best heavyweight out there right now. So it's an interesting proposition when you talk about Alexander Usyk. So let's talk about him, though. Let's talk about him. Let's talk about his accomplishments, okay? So Alexander Usyk, this is him here. And we just go into Wikipedia to see his boxing record. Now, he only has 23 fights. He has no losses, no draws. 23 fights, 23 wins. 14 of those fights coming by knockout, 9 by decision. So, he has a fantastic record. Now, the problem with talking about all-time greats is there are various criteria. Okay, there are various criteria. So yes, your accomplishments are what we base you on. It's what you do. It's nothing else we can base you on. Alexander Usyk, to be even in the league of Muhammad Ali, you have to have beaten a number of greats. The greats of Alexander Usyk era was Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. These were the top 3 heavyweights of his era. And Alexander Usyk has beaten 2 of them. Okay, Deontay Wilder, went on a decline and has had, I think it's 3 back-to-back losses, I believe he has had so far, or it's 2, I can't remember. And so he's kind of out of the equation now. So Usyk has been able to fight in form, 2 of them. Anthony Joshua came in on the rise. Tyson Fury has never lost. And so those are 2 in-form ones. They're both from England. Deontay Wilder's from America. So that's his 2 greatest wins at heavyweight. Now, he's also faced some top fighters at cruiserweight. All right. And Tony Bellew was a top cruiserweight. I do not know what. Yes, this fight, Tony Bello went back down to cruiserweight. He was a heavyweight. He went back down to cruiserweight and fought Alexander Usyk at cruiserweight. And Bello was doing good until he ran out of gas. Uh, I guess because he cut weight, because he was at heavyweight and he went down to cruiserweight to fight Usyk. And Bello did perform very, very well, actually. He was doing quite well against Usyk. Anyway, he's also fought Murat Gassiev, who was, I don't know what he was. He was the WBA, I believe. Either the yes, I believe it was the WBA. Uh, uh, um, he was the Super WBA Cruiserweight champion. Okay. And Gassiev was, champion for a very long time. Very good fighter. Maris Bredis, he also beat Maris Bredis. He won the WBC title for Maris Bredis, I do believe. This is all a super series they had. He also fought Marco Huck, who was once a world champion as well. I don't know what he was, WBC or WBA. Michael Hunter, who's a top heavyweight right now and just can't get fights, but Michael Hunter's a very good top heavyweight as well. And also Krzysztof Glowacki, who was also a former world champion, actually won the WBO championship from Krzysztof Glowacki, who just beat Marco Huck, I think, was something like that went down. So he had beaten 5 or 6 different world champions at cruiserweight. He spent most of his career at cruiserweight. Then he went up to heavyweight and he faced Derek Chisora, Anthony Joshua. These are all notable heavyweights. Derek Chisora, not a top 10 heavyweight, but yet nonetheless a notable heavyweight. Derek Chisora gave him probably the toughest fight of all of them. And he faced Anthony Joshua. Then he faced Daniel Dubois, and he actually stopped Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois hitting him with a body shot, which was ruled low. So Usyk got some extra time for that. But Dubois is proven to be quite a heavyweight champion, having dispelled the odds and beaten people that we didn't expect him to beat. He even beat Anthony Joshua, causing an upset this year, which we'll talk about in some detail. So yeah, Daniel Dubois. We have Tyson Fury. He also beat. So he beat some notable heavyweights. He beat Daniel Dubois, who's right now the IBF champion. He beat Tyson Fury, who had all the belts at one time, and beat Deontay Wilder, as well as beat Vladimir Klitschko. He also beat Anthony Joshua, who had beaten a host of different people. Got beaten, came back from being beaten, and rebounded very well. Got beat again, came back from being beat again, and rebounded very well. So Anthony Joshua, and now he's also and he also faced Derek Chisora. So these are the top heavyweights he faced. Okay, so you got Joshua, Daniel Dubois, Tyson Fury. Okay, which is incredible. It's incredible for that short space of time. All right, now he not only showed that he could handle guys who were much bigger than him, he also showed he could handle guys with unorthodox styles and different things, right? His whole career, he'd been tested by very, very good fighters, and some who will go into Boxing Hall of Fame. Tyson Fury probably will go into Boxing Hall of Fame. Deontay Wilder probably go into Boxing Hall of Fame. We don't know for Daniel Dubois. Anthony Joshua may, because, he's done quite a lot in the sport as well. And maybe Daniel Dubois, who knows? That would be incredible. Okay, that would be incredible. And considering he's a heavyweight, and he wasn't a natural heavyweight, he moved up to heavyweight. Now, he did fight in the amateurs and super heavyweight, so he was a heavyweight before, but I'm just saying. Now, does this allow Alexander Usyk to be ranked higher than Floyd Mayweather? Well, let's look at Floyd Mayweather's accomplishments, shall we? Because that's the only way we can really make sense of everything. So this is Floyd Mayweather here. Okay. All right. Now, let's, again, like I said, Floyd Mayweather had never been 2-time undisputed in 2 different divisions world champion. Okay. He'd never been that. But the thing with Floyd Mayweather is, when you look at who Floyd Mayweather faced in his career, it starts to stack up. That's the best way to put it. Let me show you what I mean. So Floyd Mayweather faced in one of his latter end fights Manny Pacquiao. Okay, Manny Pacquiao's career wasn't over, but I'm just saying Even now, I don't know if Manny Pacquiao is retired or not. It sounds like Manny Pacquiao wants to come back, whatever. But Manny Pacquiao is an all-time great. You can't say that about Deontay Wilder right now. You can't say that about Tyson Fury right now. You can't say that about Daniel Dubois right now. You can't say that about Anthony Joshua right now. But you can say that definitively, even though Manny Pacquiao's career wasn't over, he was classed as an all-time great. Okay? And all you have to do is just look at his accomplishments, and that's sealed, signed, and delivered. It is what it is. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that Alexander Usyk is not facing great competition, even now in his career, and some of these guys won't go into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. I am saying that you can't be comparing Alexander Usyk to Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather has faced Manny Pacquiao. You just can't. Where's Alexander Usyk's Manny Pacquiao? Now you could say, well, Tyson Fury was kind of like a, I don't know if you'd call him a Manny Pacquiao, but he was an insurmountable challenge. Nobody had beaten Tyson Fury before Alexander Usyk had faced him. And he had the length, the range, all of these things. Guys like Shakur Stevenson, even myself at a certain point in time, thought that, nobody could beat Tyson Fury, that he would beat Muhammad Ali. Then I came to find out that Tyson Fury was cheating a lot to do what he was doing. And I realized he was overhyped. And then when I saw how he struggled with Abeko, is it Akbeko? What is his name? I forgot what his name is. The UFC guy. I knew he didn't have the caliber. He wasn't all that. I realized it was all fake, and it was the drugs and it was the other things he was taking that made him what he was. So yeah, Floyd Mayweather faced Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was pound for pound in the world at the time. One of the top pound for pound fighters in the world, period. Okay, let's move on. Floyd Mayweather faced Marcos McDonough, again, the top 10 welterweight, because Floyd belonged in the welterweight division. He faced him twice, beat him twice. First fight was close. Also faced Canelo Alvarez, who is currently pound for pound in the top 10 pound for pound fighters in the world today, and been in the top 10, top 5 pound for pound fighters in the world for a very long time. And Canelo Alvarez is, bar none, an all-time great. Not only is he an all-time great, he's going to go and easily go into the Boxing Hall of Fame. We can say that without, Canelo's career is not even over now, and we can say that without a doubt. Okay, you just look at the amount of world champions Canelo has beaten, the amount of divisions he's gone through and dominated. It is what it is, regardless of whether he's ducking people or not. That's just what it is. Okay? Nobody has a resume in boxing today. No one that compares to Canelo Alvarez. Okay? And this is the guy that Floyd Mayweather beat. It was earlier in his career, but nonetheless, he beat him. Okay? So that's two all-time greats. Like, I can just say that off the cuff. To say Tyson Fury is an all-time great is kind of overhyping him. So we have to kind of see how Tyson Fury's career continues, if he continues his career. It's like Deontay Wilder saying he's an all-time great. Hell of punching power. But we can't say that, seeing that he lost a couple fights really well. You really can't say that. You want to know, can he have beaten the top-tier guys? And we didn't see him really against the top-tier guys, save for one or two. Right? So you can't really say that about Deontay Wilder. You can't really say that about Tyson Fury yet. The jury's out on him to some degree. But Usyk has beaten some really great fighters. All-time greats, I wouldn't stretch that yet. Their careers are not over anyway, so we don't know. Then Floyd Mayweather also faced Miguel Cotto, another pound-for-pound fighter, well-known fighter, pay-per-view star, multiple division world champion. Those are the kinds of things. These were the top guys of Floyd Mayweather's era. He also beat Shane Mosley, remarkable fighter, came all the way up from lightweight. And again, he's fighting him at welterweight. Shane Mosley can fight all the way up to super welterweight. And Shane Mosley, once again, is a Hall of Famer already. Is he an all-time great? I don't know. but he's a Hall of Famer. He's an all time great probably, but way down there. It's not like he's not a top 20 all time great at all. But he's done some phenomenal things with his career. Then you got Juan Manuel Marquez, the nemesis of Manny Pacquiao, the guy that got Manny Pacquiao in the end. This is a guy that came all the way up from featherweight, fought all the way up to welterweight. Won titles in every single division. He was like a nemesis of Manny Pacquiao, so he was a guy Manny Pacquiao had to try and overcome. Just an incredible fighter, all-time great, of course, Hall of Famer. So that's the third all-time great. So we have Pacquiao, we have Pacquiao, we have Canelo, we have Marquez. One of the greatest Puerto Rican fighters, nobody's even disputing it, Miguel Cotto. There are many great Puerto Rican fighters, but he's one of them. Sure, Hall of Famer. Shane Mosley's a Hall of Famer already. Cotto's already a Hall of Famer. So, these are the kinds of names and caliber of opposition Floyd Mayweather had been facing in his career. He also faced Ricky Hatton, who's now in the Boxing Hall of Fame as well. Faced Oscar De La Hoya, who's an all-time great, obviously. That's another one that's four. He faced Carlos Baldomero. He faced Zab Judah, who's probably going to go down in the Boxing Hall of Fame. He fought Arturo Gatti, who's in the Boxing Hall of Fame. He's fought Jose Luis Castillo, who has not entered into the Boxing Hall of Fame yet, but I'm pretty sure he'll be when all is said and done. He also faced the great Diego Corrales, who's not in the Boxing Hall of Fame either, but when all is said and done, I'm pretty sure he will be there. And he also faced Gennaro Hernandez, who's the guy that gave him his first shot at a world title. Excellent world champion, undefeated for most of his career, facing guys like Azuma Nelson, etc., etc. The number one super featherweight at the time in the division. So Floyd's been at number one spot in almost every division. The only division he was not at the number one spot, but people kind of saw him as that, was at the super lightweight division. He had gone through 5 divisions. He'd been, the top guy in 4 of them. You can't and then remember, he's fighting, for example, Miguel Cotto, Oscar De La Hoya, and also Canelo Alvarez. He's fighting all of them in a weight class that's not his weight class. Like, he can't really, he's just kind of pushed the anvil on it. So it's just crazy what Floyd did with his career and the kinds of fighters we're talking about. We're talking about, he fought like 5 all-time greats. Was it 5 or 4? Let me see. These are undisputable all-time greats, okay? All-time greats I'm talking about. All right? All-time greats. So we have here Oscar De La Hoya. He's not high up in the all-time great rankings, probably in the lower end of the top 20, but he's an all-time great for sure. The other one is, I think I passed him, didn't I? Juan Manuel Marquez is an all-time great. So you got Oscar De La Hoya, Juan Manuel Marquez. You've got Canelo Alvarez, 3, and I believe Manny Pacquiao was 4. He's faced 4 all-time greats. Okay, I wouldn't try to go any further than that. Some of them are low down in the all-time greats list, but they're all-time greats. Manny Pacquiao is probably the one that shines the most out of all of them, but that's what Floyd Mayweather's career looked like. So when you try to, 20-something world champions, okay? Usyk hasn't done anything like that, okay? So, yes, Usyk has become undisputed and cleaned up divisions, but he'd have to clean up a lot more divisions or stick around a lot longer and build a longer legacy to start to be compared to Floyd Mayweather, because he hasn't even done a fraction of what Floyd has done in his 50 fights. So you have to put that into perspective, and for somebody to overshadow Floyd, even in this present era, even guys like the great Terrence Crawford, for them to overshadow Floyd in terms of accomplishments, they have to start really early, and they got to be consistent with it. They got to be consistently facing the guys, and Terrence just can't seem to get that break. He's trying to right now face Canelo. I don't know. I honestly don't know. He has to get a lot bigger. He has to get a lot stronger to deal with a Canelo. Canelo's not like I don't think Terrence understands. Canelo's not what he thinks he is. Canelo's a lot, and he's going to be so much bigger than Terrence, and he's going to be careful with Terrence, and he's going to do what he has to do. But Terrence is a hell of a fighter, but taking on Canelo, I think, is a tad too much. I think he's going to lose. Now, it's really my thing is that, and I know Terrence will be looking to try and outbox Canelo, but you got to be able to take the punishment that Canelo will dish out to you. You're talking about a guy. Terrence went up to 154, and he had to be very careful with the guy that he just recently faced and beat. And that guy is nowhere near the kind of power and the kind of IQ that Canelo has. Don't get it twisted. Canelo do have, he don't move that a whole lot, but he's very efficient with his movements. And Terrence got to be popping that jab. And I'm not saying that he can't outbox Canelo. We've seen Canelo be outboxed before. I just don't think he has the size and strength to keep Canelo honest all the time. Because you saw, and I can tell you right now, Jamel Charlo can punch, right? And he hit Canelo with the kitchen fucking sink, and it did nothing to Canelo. Canelo was still careful, but it did nothing. Canelo dropped him. Okay. So Terrence, it's not the same. People say Terrence is a smaller guy than Jamel Charlo. He's smaller. He's a smaller guy than Jamel Charlo. And Canelo can punch. And Canelo been fighting all the way up to super, to light heavyweight. So it's that's food for Canelo. If they make that fight, I got Canelo in that fight. I said it before, Terrence is a remarkable fighter, but man, size is size. And I agree with David Benavidez on this. He too small for Canelo. I'm just saying it right now. He maybe later on they can match him up, but that is just not that favors Canelo all the way. So we're gonna look at the year in review, and then we'll look forward to what upcoming fights that will happen. This year was an interesting year in terms of upsets. We had a lot of upsets this year, and I'm going to mention some of them. You guys can mention some others if you so wish. If you guys want to leave comments, I won't see a comments immediately, but I'll see a comments a little bit later on. But let's just talk about it. So Ohara Davies, he got stopped by Ishmael Barroso early this year. They thought that this was going to be an easy fight for Ohara Davies, and Ishmael Barroso finished him off real quick, and everybody was like, Rolly Romero got a gift against Ishmael. Ishmael ends up, actually, I haven't heard about Ishmael Barroso since then. Unfortunately, Ishmael never got that rematch with Rolly because this other guy fought Rolly, Pitbull Cruz, and destroyed him. And then Pitbull faced, forgot what the kid's name is from Mexico, but he faced that kid, and that kid who got stopped by the other guy, the Cuban. And that kid right now, he is, I think, world champ in the WBA. He's the WBA world champ. Currently, I can't remember what his name is right now. You guys can tell me his name. I'll try and look and see your comments afterwards. On January 13th, Artur Beterbiev destroyed Callum Smith with a 7-round TKO to retain the IBF, WBC, WBO light heavyweight titles. I expected that. I didn't see Callum Smith as anything special. People were saying after he destroyed Callum Smith that he would destroy Dmitry Bivol. That did not happen. We'll talk more about that in a minute. In the women's division, Natasha Jones retained her IBF welterweight crown with a razor split decision over American rival Michaela Mayer. I remember Mayer lost to Natasha Jones. I do remember that. Good fight, though, and that happened this year. We also had, I don't care about that fight. We had Conor Benn, who returned, faced Pete Dobson. Remember, Pete Dobson also faced, I think he either faced or he didn't face. I'm not too sure. We'll see. But anyway, he faced Pete Dobson. He got a win over him, but it was a tough fight. Joshua Boazzi, he beat some guy named Dan Aziz. I don't know about that. I can't remember. Teofimo Lopez, he fought Jermaine Ortiz this year. And I thought controversially won that fight. I thought Jermaine Ortiz beat him. That would have been another upset because I thought Jermaine Ortiz outboxed him the whole fight. And of course, Ishaki Foster, he retained his WC featherweight champion over Abraham Nova. That was actually an exciting fight. It was a good fight. Shaki Foster versus Abraham Nova. It was a good fight. That was a good, nice, action-packed fight. Nakatani, he became the WBC bantamweight champion. Takuma Inui, he won some bantamweight title, and Tanaka, I don't even give a fuck about that. uh, so after Jake Paul got his ass beat by Fury, he went on to knock out Ryan Borland and Raymond Ford. He won the WB featherweight title. He knocked out some guy called Otabek Kalmatov in the 12th round. I remember that. I went to the razor wire. I think he was losing the fight, all kinds of shit. Israel Madrimov beat Mogomed Kurbanov. Madrimov became the WBA super welterweight champion in March. Joseph Parker, he beat Zilly Zhang. Remember that? He got knocked down twice, but he outpointed him. Anthony Joshua flattened Francis Ngannou, showing he didn't belong in the ring with that kind of level competition. After having that really close decision loss to Tyson Fury. This is Pitbull Cruz running over Rolly Romero. Tim Tszyu this was another upset where Tim Tszyu was upsetted by Sebastian Fundora, who came in last minute to win a 12-round split decision. Of course, Tim Tszyu was cut early over his eye through the elbow, I think. Sebastian elbowed him. And so it is what it is. I mean, he ran into the elbow, I think it was. Tim Tszyu should have been world champion right now, but Fundora it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Pitbull Cruz, he destroyed Rolly Romero on that same card. And Zerto, he won the cruiserweight title. So all of that happened. But yeah, Tim Tszyu, that was an upset that we didn't see coming. I didn't see it coming. This is Joshua disposing of Ngannou as he should. On April 20th, Ryan Garcia, he scored. This was a stunning upset over Devin Haney, which was overruled, and it's a no contest now because of the doping that he did. Canelo was able to beat Jaime Munguia by unanimous decision. He did knock down Munguia as well, but he didn't stop him because Munguia went on to face another undefeated fighter, and he just got stopped. Naoya Inoue, he knocked out Luis Neri on May 6th. Vasily Lomachenko, he won the IBF title, stopping George Kambosos in the 11th round. So it is what it is. Lauren Price, she beat Jessica McCaskill. Denis Berenjenk, he beat Emmanuel Navarrete, winning the WBO lightweight title by a split decision. Jai Optaia, he claimed the vacant IBF cruiserweight title after beating Maris Bredis. I think they had a rematch, and he beat him as well. Alexander Usyk in May, he beat Tyson Fury. So, yeah. Barichek is the third upset for the year. Lawrence Okoli, he knocked out Lucas Rozanzi. Jack Catterall, he beat Josh Taylor by unanimous decision in a thrilling rematch in Leeds. That was May this year. Catterall, we thought, beat him the first time. He came back and beat him the second time. And of course, Jack Catterall is a hell of a fighter. And I would love to see him match up against the top super lightweights in the division. Dimitri Bivol, he beat some guy named Alex Zinad, stopping him. And then Deontay Wilder was knocked out by Zilly Zhang. Daniel Dubois won the vacant IBF title after stopping Filip Hrgovic. So he was just on a roll before he knocked out Anthony Joshua. David Benavidez outpointed Alexander Gvozdyk. Liam Parrow, he was able to outpoint Subriel Mateus. That's June 15th. And he won the IBF light welterweight title, which is now held by what the fuck is his name? Africa. That's all I remember as. All right. Chris Billiam-Smith, he retained his WBO cruiserweight title, but he lost it I think Chris Billiam-Smith fought somebody else later on this year. We'll talk about that. Gervonta Davis knocked out Frank Martin. Jesse Bam Rodriguez, he knocked out Juan Francisco Estrada in the 7th round, become the WBC and Ring Magazine Super Flyweight World Champion. And Teofimo Lopez, he beat Steve Claggett. Shakur Stevenson, he beat Artem Harutyunyan. This is the same guy, Artem Harutyunyan, I believe, fought also the former lightweight IBF champion and unified champion, George Kambosos. I think he fought George Kambosos. And they said, he beat George Kambosos, but I thought Kambosos won. Robson Concercio upsets Oshaki Foster in a contentious decision to win the WBC Super Featherweight Champion. This is the 5th upset we saw for the year. Jerome Ennis retained his IBF Welterweight World Championship, beating David Avanesian, knocking him out in the 5th round. He looked good in that after coming off of that bad victory over the guy that he rematched later on this year. In July 20th, Jake Paul, he took on bare knuckle boxer, former UFC star Mike Perry. He knocked him out. And let's see. Chantel Cameron, she won the vacant WBC interim super lightweight title. Chantel Cameron, of course, faced whatever her name is. I can't remember her name right now. Derek Chisora claimed a unanimous decision victory over Joe Joyce after 10 rounds at the O2. So he actually beat Joe Joyce. He put him down, all kinds of stuff. Krista Shields, she beat some Lee Page Janesse. She beat the heavyweight champion, the WBC heavyweight champion, yeah. She also picked up the WBO light heavyweight title. David Morrell did his thing. Rayo, he was able to beat Pitbull Cruz. That's the guy I was thinking of. Jose Rayo Valenzuela. He beat Pitbull Cruz. That was August the 3rd. Terrence Crawford, he got a 12-round unanimous decision victory over Israel Madrimov. Virgil Ortiz, he got knocked down twice by Serhii Borchuk. I thought Borchuk won that fight. They gave, anyway, Virgil Ortiz the majority decision win over Borchuk, but I thought Borchuk won that fight. Inui, he beat some guy in Tokyo. He won his super bantamweight titles. And then Erislandy Lara, he retained his WBA middleweight title, knocking out Danny Garcia. That was kind of crazy that he knocked him out. And then Saul Canelo Alvarez retained his unified middleweight world championship status after he beat Edgar Berlanga. Nobody wanted to see that fucking fight. Stupid. Then September 21st, Daniel Dubois knocks out Anthony Joshua. Which was another upset. That is the 6th upset for the year. Michaela Mayer won the WBO welterweight title after majority decision over Sandy Ryan. I remember that fight quite well in New York. Terry Harper beat Rhiannon Nixon by unanimous decision to land the WBO world lightweight title. Terry Harper became a champion. Artur Beterbiev controversially beat Dmitry Bivol on points in the thrilling main event in Ryder. That was October the 12th. I thought that Bivol beat him. Bivol never made any excuses. Jai Upchai, he secured a 6th-round stoppage over Jack Massey to retain his belt. Chris Eubank Jr. made his ring return with a stoppage victory over Camille Zarameda. Zarameda was a good fighter, by the way. Uh, yeah, don't really care about that. Former champion Tim Tszyu was knocked down 4 times and pretty much knocked out by Russian Bakram Murtazaliev, retaining his IBF light middleweight crown in a third round TKO win. Yeah, that was another upset. That's the seventh upset for the year. We thought Tim Tszyu would beat him. Well, some people did. And Murtazaliev, man, he just murked his ass. I think Murtazaliev won the title off of, not too sure who he won it off of. I think it was vacant or something. I can't remember. Anyway, Shaki Foster, he avenged his loss to Robson Concercio, regaining the WBC featherweight title by split decision. Boots Ennis, he again fought Karen Chukazanian and still had difficulty with him, but he did win by unanimous decision. And Jesse Bam Rodriguez defended his IBF super featherweight title against Pedro Guevara, knocking him out in the third round. Jesse just making a name for himself. He be doing it in them lower weight classes. Jake Paul beat up Mike Tyson. Katie Taylor, controversially in my opinion, won against Amanda Serrano. I thought Serrano took that fight as well. And Mary Barrios in a well-earned slugfest against Abel Ramos, who's a very capable fighter. He retained his WBC title, but both guys got knocked down, and it was a split decision win for him. Gilberto Ramirez, he defended his WBA cruiserweight title and claimed the WBO cruiserweight title against Chris Billum Smith. It was a unification between two world champions. And so Gilberto Ramirez, man, doing it again. He was a world champion at super middleweight, and now he's a world champion at cruiserweight. He's two-time world champion. He's unified world champion. So he's, building his pedigree. Emmanuel Navarrete made a third successful defense of his WBO super featherweight title, so he went back down to super featherweight, stopping Oscar Valdez in the 6th round. He also dropped his fellow Mexican. So this was a fight I actually didn't follow up on. Oscar Valdez versus Emmanuel Navarrete 2. Apparently, man, he went down to super featherweight and he did a number on Oscar Valdez. He stopped him in the 6th round. He dropped Oscar Valdez in the 1st and 4th round. So he really tore into Oscar Valdez and beat his ass up. I did not know about that. So see, there's something I didn't cover. All right. Emmanuel Espinosa beat Robsy for Ramirez for a second time to retain the WBO featherweight title with a TKO victory in the 6th round. Wow. And of course, we know about Richardson Hitchens. He won the IBF super lightweight title from Liam Parro in a split decision victory in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I got to say, though, Parro could have, any judge who scored it for Parro, I don't have a problem with that because I thought Parro took the last 2 rounds. I just thought Hitchens looked better. And so, I can see how people would be impressed, but I thought Parro outlanded him in the last 2 rounds. And Parro did step up his game. And then December 21st, Alexander Usyk, of course, retaining his unified heavyweight titles after beating Tyson Fury. They say it's a close points win. I thought Usyk pulled away in the 11th and 12th, and I don't think Tyson Fury had anything in the tank to answer to him about. So I think Usyk's body work really served him well. So these were the fights of 2024. You know what I mean? These were the fights of 2024. You had seven upsets in 2024. It was a very interesting year where we saw some really tremendous accomplishments because Usyk became undisputed. We had also Clarissa Shields becoming heavyweight champion. We had a number of accomplishments. I also had some people who got exposed. Okay. Teofimo Lopez looked shaky at super lightweight. I think he got one straightforward win. Devin Haney looked chinny, even though he was, the optics looked that way. I'm not saying that he was, but he looked that way. Even though he had a spectacular win against Regis Prograis early on in the year. So I'm just saying that this was an interesting year in which people you didn't expect to lose lost, fights. I clearly lost fights, got stopped and stuff like that. So this is some Japanese fights that are going to happen in Tokyo, Japan. I don't really give a damn about those fights. Uh, And people will say, "Oh man, you don't care about the lower weight class." If you're outstanding in the lower weight classes, sure. Otherwise, no. So at the top of the pyramid right now, you have Terrence Crawford, who had one fight this year, and you have Alexander Usyk. Now, between the two of them, I think that this year, the pound for pound top king for me is Alexander Usyk. Terrence Crawford fought a guy who was bigger, longer, stronger than him, true. But so did Usyk. But Usyk did it twice, proving that he was like, I dominate this dude. It's just what it is. So I would think that this year, I think Usyk's going to edge out Terrence Crawford as pound for pound number one in the world, just based on his accomplishments. It was up for undisputed, and he put his unified titles on the line, even though it's the same guy. Um, and so, when we look at the fears in terms of this year, don't forget to smash the like button, like, share, subscribe. You can also donate via PayPal. Yeah, when you look at the fights this year, there were great fights, there were tremendous fights, but by and large, I gotta say, this year had gave us some of the biggest fights you could want in boxing, and that's what's good about it. Gave us the Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk fights. It gave us we got some big fights this year, didn't we? We got the Usyk. We got the heavyweights were mixing it up, and Deontay Wilder came out the short end of the stick with that. But we had a lot of heavyweights mixing it up. Joe Joyce, Daniel Dubois, the Chinese guy, which I can't remember his name, Jilin Zhang or something like that. Deontay Wilder was up in there. Usyk, Fury, it was a real mix-up of the top heavyweights. Nobody really was out of the equation. Now, what can we see for the future of the heavyweight division? Let's talk the different weight classes and what we can see. First things first, everybody wants to see Anthony Joshua face Tyson Fury. And of course, the next fight for Alexander Usyk should be the winner of Joseph Parker and Daniel Dubois. Parker's been on a nice, long, nice, good run. So we would love to see Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois. I mean, anybody who says no, you're not a boxing fan, man. So that's the deciding fight. Who goes up against Alexander Usyk? And that, it's like a round robin. It's really working out pretty good for the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division, thanks to Turki Al-Sheikh, who's made a big difference in boxing, getting the fights we want to see. It's really been eating good time for the heavyweight division. Almost everybody's matching up with everybody. So that's great. I mean, I can't say anything negative about that. You know what I mean? So in the future, we will want to see Usyk versus the winner of Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois. We want to see, I guess a lot of people locally in the UK would love to see Anthony Joshua go up against Tyson Fury. It's about time. Don't let it, Joshua, he got kind of halted. He was on a good run, but I mean, Joshua versus Tyson Fury would be huge. It would be a huge fight in the UK. And before it's too late, might as well get these two guys together. You don't want an Amir Khan versus Cal Brook kind of fight where Khan's done already washed up. Joshua's almost at the end of his line. Well, let's see Joshua versus Tyson Fury. They both lost. So let's have it. Either they get two stay busy fights to build their confidence and then they go in, or you go in directly. I would love to see that. That would be a good fight. That's a local fight. That's a fight. We want to see who would triumph over who. Good fight to have. Now, that's a big money making fight, too. So, bigger than Usyk versus Daniel Dubois. And Dubois is in great form, by the way. He's in great form. He's been cracking everybody, hurting people, fighting somewhat smart. You probably want to avenge his loss to also Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce has not been in good form. He's been knocked out now twice, I think it is. So he's not been in great form either. So it'd be interesting to see how things pan out with those guys. But that's the heavyweight division. Basically, there's some other guys coming up. They talk about the African fighter um, who they say stopped Usyk and stopped Usyk and some other guy in sparring. And I'm like, sparring. I couldn't give a damn if you knocked me out in sparring. What I'm interested in, because I'll be working on shit. Fight night, let's see. When I'm in peak shape and everything. Let's see what happens. So, but that may be another guy that's on the horizon for Usyk to fight. So we'll see how it goes. Now, having said that, what about the upcoming fights, the future fights, right? That's what you guys are going to ask about. So let's see here. In terms of future fights coming on the horizon, I think, okay, I don't care about this shit. Okay, Apatai is going to be defending his titles against some people. The boy's sister, she's going to be fighting somebody. Now, Nui is going to be facing some guy named Goodman, and this is the 24th of January. So January is kind of a quiet month in boxing. Not really a whole lot going on. Cruz from Cuba, he can be facing Salido, so he's not really. It's not hot yet. The end of January doesn't really bring anything. But the 1st of February, we got David Benavidez versus David Morrell. That's a good fucking fight, bro. That's a good 50-50 fight. I'm going to tell y'all why it's 50-50. And I don't care what Benavidez says. David Morrell's not going to be bullied around by Benavidez. That's not going to happen. Right? They two big dudes. They two strong dudes. Morrell's got a lot of boxing IQ. Very slick Cuban boxer. Be interesting to see southpaw. Be interesting to see how Benavidez handles that. And remember, he's got power too. And he's strong. So that would be crazy. Now, people are talking about Benavidez' experience having faced top-tier opposition. That will play a role in this fight. But the skills that Morrell has, if Morrell sticks to being a Cuban slick boxer, doing what he do, he's gonna be a handful for David Benavidez. I'm telling you right now, he's gonna be a handful for David Benavidez. I know he has David Benavidez as Andre Durrell he spars with, but nah, man. Morrell and the Cuban schools of boxing, man, them guys could, don't underestimate them. You know what I'm saying? So I would be interested in seeing this fight. That's why I think it's a 50-50. I don't think it's a fight where David Benavidez is just going to dominate it. Of course, David comes on stronger in the later rounds. In Cuban school of boxing, they usually dominate the early rounds because of the amateur system. So they're really good early. Later on, we don't know. So we'll see how David Morrell, he don't got that experience. He's never faced nobody on David Benavidez' level. So it's going to be very interesting in that respect. He should really look to some advice from Erislandy Lara and from, the Cuban fighters like, Casamayor and those guys. He should be talking with them because he going to have a tank. He had to go all the way down to the 12th round. So we're going to see. That's what I think is going to be the decider in this fight is David Benavidez' conditioning and experience having gone 12 rounds with a number of fighters at the top level. Whereas I'm not sure for David Morrell, that may be the deciding factor that gives David Benavidez the fight, as well as we're going to see. If Morrell had got power like he showed, and he's able to hurt David Benavidez early, this going to be a very interesting fight. I can tell you that because David Benavidez know he can't just plow out into David Morrell. He's going to have to keep his defense tight, and he's going to make sure he don't get caught with nothing. And, them Cuban boxers, they know how to set you up and catch you with shots. So, it's going to be, it might be something like Canelo versus Erislandy Lara. It might be a fight, something like that. That's what I think. But I don't know how savvy David Morrell is. So we got a lot to see. We got a lot to find out. David Morrell trying to get in David Benavidez' head and all of that. So we're going to see. It's going to be, David Benavidez better stop talking about hurting David Morrell and stopping him and all that and just focus on trying to outbox him and outwit him and outplay him because he going to have a rough night. It's going to be a rough night for David Benavidez if David Morrell gets to cook it. You know what I mean? All right. We've got Omar Figueroa. He's going to be facing Steve Fulton. Sorry, not Omar Figueroa, his younger brother. Brandon Figueroa is going to be facing Steve Austin. So there's a rematch this year, and that's on the same card with on February 1st. Figueroa is going to be facing Steve Fulton. That's a good matchup right there. And of Isaac Cruz is going to be facing Fierro. I don't know who the fuck he is. So I guess we'll know. And of course, Ramos, he going to be facing Rosario. So that's a good little matchup right there. That's a good little matchup right there. Sergey Lipinets, he's facing some guy named Azam. Lipinets been in the game for a long time. He can show you a little bit of, slick skill. On Sunday, the women's, you got Carissa Shields. She's going to be facing somebody, I think it's Melissa Perkins or something like that. Let me see what else we got here. Derek Chisora, he's going to be facing Wallen, who I think he faced Tyson Fury or something like that. And Wallen, I think did he face Anthony Joshua? I think I seen somebody stopped him. But anyways, that's a good little fight right there. That's going to be interesting. Southpaw versus switch hitter. And Chisora loves the inside. Something Wallen, I forgot what his name is. That's interesting. You know what I mean? Let's see what else we got here. Jack Catterall. Oh, snap. On the 15th of February, Jack Catterall might be taking on Arnold Barboza Jr. That's a good fucking fight. I got Catterall. Barboza's going to be biting into more than he can chew. Catterall's going to beat his ass. I'm telling you that right now. The rematch. Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol. And I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be great. Let's see if Bivol can do something a little bit more to beat Artur Beterbiev, to actually take the title from him. So that should be an interesting fight. I got to say, Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker is also on the undercard. Oh, man, these heavyweights. Of Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev. That's a fucking flames right there. That's a flame. Oh, shit. And then, oh, shit. This is a flame card, y'all. Virgil Ortiz Jr. is taking on Israel Madrimov. That's a fucking good fight. Oh, my God. I don't know if Ortiz can take on Madrimov, but hey, here's what it is. If they trade fire for fire, Madrimov's going to knock him out. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. Shakur Stevenson, for real? This is really happening? Stevenson's taking on Floyd Schofield. That fight, I got Stevenson all the way schooling this kid. This kid gonna get schooled. He might even get stopped. That's not a good fight for Floyd Schofield. That is not a good fight. Bro, you coming along too fast. Shakur's gonna cook you. You're gonna get cooked, son. Cooked. It's two names, a rising star and an established star. Oh, that's gonna be ugly. Shakur gonna beat that boy till he gonna beat him up. He can stay behind his defense and beat that boy up. That boy gonna get beat up bad. Buatsi's taking on Callum Smith. That's a nice local fight right there. I got Buatsi, I think. I'm not sure. Zealand Zhang, he's taking on some guy called Caballel. Zhang's gonna beat his ass. Zhang old as hell, but he gonna beat his ass. I'm telling you that right now. He gonna knock him out. He gonna stop him. Oh yeah. So that's the month of February, 24th of February is as far as we go. No, 28th of February. Like we got March. Okay, March 1st, they're gonna have Gervonta Davis versus whatever his fucking name is, Roach. Sorry about the disrespect, but I'm telling y'all right now, Gervonta gonna beat up Roach. He gonna beat him up. He gonna get him hurt, and then he gonna stop him. Okay. Roach is coming up from super featherweight, and he looked like a good little fighter. I'm not gonna lie, he got some skill, but this is a real fight. This is not sparring. So Gervonta is way bigger weight classes, and he gonna beat that boy up. That boy too small for him. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's going on with that. I'm not saying that Lamont Roach is his name. Lamont Roach got skills, but he's still too scrappy. You know, he do a lot of things too scrappy. He gonna have to tighten up his defense tremendously when he's dealing with Gervonta, because Gervonta see even a small. Okay, we got Jose Valenzuela versus Gary Russell Jr. That's a good fight. That's actually a good fight, especially in light of what happened with Russell Jr. and get him beat by for the vacant world championship The IBF, I think it was, oh, whatever it was. I can't remember. WBO, whatever it was. He got beat by Puello. Valenzuela, I don't know. I think Russell will beat Valenzuela on that one. I think he's gonna beat him. I think he's gonna get him out of there. They're both southpaws. Valenzuela's gained some confidence being a world champion, but I just don't see him beating Gary Russell Jr. So Russell Jr. is gonna beat his ass and take the WBA strap from him. That much I do know. Puello is a much more composed, better fighter. Valenzuela, he can box a little bit, but nah. He gonna lose that title, but at least he was a world champion. You know what I mean? On March 7th, Jonas is gonna be taking on Price. That's a good fight. What else we got here? Looking forward to here. That's about it. But hey, we got 3 extra months. So until the month of March, we got some really big fights. We got Usyk rematching. No, we have. Sorry, my bad. We have Bevo rematching Beterbiev. We've got championship fight between Joe Joyce. I'm not Joe Joyce. What the fuck am I talking about? Between Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker. We got some good fights. We got some good fights here. Some competitive fights. The David Morrell versus David Benavidez. That's a good fight. I want to see what happens down the stretch more than anything else. But that's a good fight as well. And this is a good fight actually. Figueroa rematching Fulton. That's a good fight, actually. So, we got 1 or 2 really good ones up in here. I'm not seeing a whole bunch of good ones. Otto Wallen versus Derek Chisora. That's a decent fight right there. I would like to see how that outcome would end up being. Catterall versus Barboza. That's a solid fight again. Barboza undefeated. Catterall has a loss. Catterall, of course, having beaten now comprehensively Josh Taylor. He's on a serious high. He's been beating everybody he's come across, and I cannot see why he won't beat Barboza. Barboza, again, good defensive fighter, is all-around hard worker, but I just don't see him beating Jack Catterall. I see Catterall beating him. Catterall has way too much experience for him, and it's just slick and everything, Yeah, Beterbiev with Bivol, Dubois versus and Ortiz Jr. versus Madrimov. That's a good fight, actually. It's a good fight. I favor Madrimov, but I would like to see how that fight turns out anyway. And don't want to see Stevenson versus Schofield. I think that's a mismatch. Yeah, so we got some good fights right there coming up this year. This is a shit fight. I'm gonna just call it as it is. I know Lamont Roach thinks he's really all that and everything, but homie gonna get rolled over. He gonna get rolled over. He gonna put up a decent fight for maybe a couple rounds and stuff, but he gonna get rolled over. And I know he got a lot of confidence and everything, but you gonna get rolled over, bro. You gonna get stopped. Gary Russell Jr. versus Jose Valenzuela. That's a good fight. Thing is, I favor Gary Russell Jr. to beat Valenzuela. Valenzuela gonna have to show me something that he ain't shown me before. And I know he's a dog and he can fight and all that, but nah, Russell Jr. is gonna probably stop you. You're gonna get stopped, bro. What I'm missing here is Keyshawn Davis. I don't see any Keyshawn Davis fights. That to me is pretty important. And Keyshawn Davis versus Shakur Stevenson is actually a better fight than Floyd Schofield versus Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson gonna pick him apart and then probably even stop him if you don't watch it. Now Schofield's talking about Shakur don't punch hard. That's stupid. I mean, that's just a stupid thing to say. You know what I mean? Don't forget to smash the like button. I see a whole bunch of you guys watching this stream right now. Anyway, peoples, that's what I got for you guys. I am what you need. So that's what's ahead for us. You guys can leave your comments if you have any comments. And let me go and check and see if you guys got any comments that I need to look at here. Oh, I forgot to open up the comments box. There you go. Oh, somebody said something. Y'all, who has defeated more undefeated fighters, Mayweather or Usyk? Nobody gives a fuck, bro. Undefeated fighter doesn't mean shit. That's what y'all don't realize. It's who you face, not whether they're undefeated. Undefeated fighter just means that the guy has not tasted defeat. That means he's gonna have attitude. He gonna want to, he's gonna want to. Excuse me for a second. He's gonna want to. He gonna want to fight you. Okay. He gonna want to put up a fight. So that's the thing. They don't just go down. They're not just gonna quit. They're not gonna just say, "Well, this ain't worth it," and call it a day. But to say undefeated fighters, I don't know. Y'all do this also with Terrence Crawford, and if you're like developing as a fighter, like you're going up the key and you face a lot of undefeated fighters, that's good because those guys haven't tasted defeat. So you need that experience with somebody who's not just going to lie down and quit. That's all undefeated fighter means, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I could go fight a bum on the side of the road. He's an undefeated fighter. That don't mean nothing. That don't mean anything about quality. Now, if you got an undefeated fighter who has beaten some name fighters or has beaten name fighters throughout their career, they got this illustrious career, that's totally different. So tell me how many undefeated fighters a fighter. I don't know why y'all keep on doing this. Y'all do this to yourselves. Y'all don't think. Y'all just talk. You know what I mean? How many undefeated fighters? What does that mean? That mean a shit. It doesn't mean shit, y'all. It's not undefeated fighters. It's their reputation of the fighter. What is this fighter known for? What is this fighter good at? How many wins? What accomplishments has this fighter had? Who has this fighter beaten? That's more important than fucking undefeated fighters. Y'all talk like y'all some kind of fucking kids from kindergarten. It really annoys me when you say, how many undefeated? I'm sorry, it's really irking me right now. How many undefeated fighters did he face? I don't give a fuck. I don't. What I care about is the name fighters, the credible fighters. I just went through the fucking list showing you guys, all-time greats that Floyd faced and Hall of Fame fighters that Floyd faced. Okay, Alexander Usyk he has some guys that are going to go into the Hall of Fame, like Tyson Fury is probably going to go into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Anthony Joshua's probably going to go into the Boxing Hall of Fame. But you can't call them all-time greats. You see what I'm saying? Tyson Fury hasn't done enough. It's not so much that who he hasn't faced. He's faced a lot of really great guys, Tyson Fury, but it's not much. It's not much. That's the problem with these guys. Their resumes are not that packed. You can't take for instance Canelo fucking Alvarez, man. You cannot compare Tank to Canelo Alvarez based on the body of work we're talking about. We're not talking about skill set and all of that. The body of work. Canelo's done way more than fucking Tank has done. Accomplished way more. And boxing is based on what you've done. Yes, it's based on the eye test as well, how you looked when you fought. Yes, of course. But we're saying it's what you've done. It's your body of work. Right? Right? Once you've got a body of work, now we try to compare it. We line it up with another body of work. Right? Because we can go and watch your body of work on TV. We can also read the results of your body of work based on stats and look at the people you faced when you did your body of work. It's the caliber of opposition that's more important than just the quantity of opposition. I could go fight 50 different bums, supposedly undefeated fucking fighters, but they're bums. They're at a certain level. They're below my level. If I'm a world champion, I should be facing world champion caliber opposition, meaning top contenders and world champions or former world champions. That's what I should be doing at that fucking level. So you telling me, oh, he beat an undefeated fighter at that level who is maybe marginally a contender or not even a fucking contender. Okay, I'll give you a good example. Floyd Mayweather faced Conor McGregor. Floyd Mayweather faced an undefeated fighter. So fucking what? He's undefeated because he never fought. He's a debutant. See what I'm saying? It's the quality of opposition. If a guy is undefeated, let's say after 30, 40 fights, and fought world champions, former world champions, top contenders, and he remained undefeated, that means something. because it shows he's like this top tier guy that constantly gets wins over caliber opposition. It's the quality of opposition that's more important than the quantity of it. And this is where you guys can keep on saying some stupid stuff like, well, and then sometimes I hear them say, well, how many all-time greats has he faced? And it's like, okay, now when you say all-time great, you have to, that's a subjective term, right? Even when I use all-time great, I'm talking about guys who are unquestionably, people will say, in any era, this guy would beat X, Y, and Z. Okay, so this is why we talk about Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao is an all-time great because we do not dispute how dominant he was in his era and how he would hang. We assume, it's all an assumption. This fucking country, bro. Yeah, we do not dispute that, you know, fighters like that would be a force to reckon with in other eras. This is the whole point behind. Let me show you what I mean, because you guys need to understand. Because resume, motherfucker. You can tell me all about accomplishments, which is also good. Don't get me wrong. Accomplishments is important. But it's the fucking resume. It's always who you face and who you beat. Let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna pull up Manny Pacquiao's fucking resume. Y'all gotta understand, man. Guys leave for posterity for the rest of their lives. They leave something called a resume. Let me see. Is this his boxing resume? Nope. This is him outside of boxing. Let's see if I can find him as a boxer somewhere here. Here we go. Boxing career, Manny Pacquiao. Okay. So I'm going to show you Manny Pacquiao's boxing resume, okay? Manny Pacquiao lost to Udenis Ugas. Now you will say, oh, he lost. Ha ha ha. But who did he lose to? He lost to the WBA Super Welterweight Champion, or the Super WBA Welterweight Champion, meaning he was the champion of the division, Udenis Ugas. Now, Udenis Ugas became that. He became world champion. I'm gonna show you so you can see. He became world champion by beating. Who did he beat? Let's see. He beat. Yes, he beat Abel Ramos, the guy that Mario Barrios struggled with. He just barely beat Abel Ramos. It was a good fucking fight. And that's what made him WBA regular champion. And Manny Pacquiao was the super champion in recess because he had beaten Keith Thurman. Okay? All right. So they decided, all right, let's decide who's the real world champion. So Manny Pacquiao came and fought Dennis Ugas. He was really supposed to face Errol Spence, but then Errol Spence had an eye injury. And so Manny Pacquiao ended up facing Dennis Ugas. And then Dennis Ugas comprehensively beat his ass. I mean, beat his ass. Manny Pacquiao's face was puffy and everything afterwards. But it was a good fucking fight. And then Dennis Ugas was a world champion. The caliber of opposition. The caliber of... don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that your Dennis Ugas, didn't lose fights and stuff, but the position your Dennis Ugas was in. It's not about being undefeated. It's just about... And that's what a lot of y'all guys don't get. If you talk about Alexander Usyk being undefeated, right? And you look at the caliber of opposition Usyk has faced. Somebody beating Alexander Usyk, that's huge because, the caliber of opposition Usyk, it shows how high and the level at which Alexander Usyk is at. So it's not just about being undefeated. It's one thing if you're undefeated. It's another thing when you're undefeated at a high level and this guy comes and beats you. That's way more. It has way more weight in it than just beating a guy who was a top contender. Y'all were fighting for a vacant title. But when you're talking about a guy who's been world champion multiple times, has beaten world champions, and he's undefeated, and you beat him, that says so fucking much. Now, if you're moving up the ladder, you're moving from debutante to prospect, to contender, and you're fighting undefeated fighters every single time. That's impressive. Don't get it wrong. That's impressive. But you must understand at the level you're at, it's impressive for the level you're at. Because in boxing, in the sport of boxing, there's something called levels. So it's not, you can't just blanketly and generically say, oh, he's beating all these undefeated fighters. Nobody gives a fuck when you are a world champion. You're at a different level to those guys. You're supposed to beat them. But when you start facing undefeated fighters who are world champions themselves, they're at your level or above. They have either had a lot of experience beating numbers of world champions and former world champions, or they, beaten top contenders and whatever. They defended their title many times, and you beat them. It means something. It means something because they're at your level and they're undefeated. You get it? That's the thing that, Anyway, so let's keep it going. I see some people leaving some comments here. I see them popping up, but they disappear on me. I will see if I can retrieve them. Hold on one second. Let's see if I do this. Oh, it does not work. I'm trying to get it. Oh, there you go. Yes, I see it. It's just that my background is fucking white. So hold on a second. Let me just go through Manny Pacquiao's resume and you'll understand what I'm saying. So, for example, Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman was undefeated. Keith Thurman, before he faced Manny Pacquiao, was undefeated. But here's the even more crazy thing. Keith Thurman wasn't just an undefeated fighter. No. Keith Thurman had beaten the likes of former world champion Daniel Garcia. Danny Garcia, when he faced Danny Garcia was the WBC champion. He unified the WBC and WBA titles, beating Danny Garcia. So that's huge. He was a unified world champion. He also beat Sean Porter. At the time, he was defending his WBA welterweight title, Sean Porter being, at the time, the former IBF world champion. And he also beat Louis Collazo. Louis Collazo, though he was a veteran, much older and so on, so you have to consider all of these things. He retired Louis Collazo. Louis Collazo hurting him in the 6th round. But the point is, Louis Collazo had retired in cuts. Louis Collazo was a former WBA world champion. Much earlier than Keith Thurman's career, but nonetheless. And Louis Collazo surprised him, but he was able to stop Louis Collazo based on cuts. Also, another world champion, Robert Guerrero, who was at the lower weight classes, he was a multiple world champion. Robert Guerrero, who was a top contender for Floyd Mayweather and faced Floyd Mayweather. That Robert Guerrero, coming off of a number of wins and so on. Keith Thurman faced him, okay? And Keith Thurman dropped him, okay? Oh, wait, hold on. Who is this? What am I looking at? This is Keith Thurman. This is Keith Thurman I'm talking about. Okay. All right, so let me go back to, yes, Manny Pacquiao had beaten Keith Thurman, who was a former unified world champion, 2-time world champion, okay? And at the time, back in those days, being unified world champion was huge because it was much harder to unify belts back then. It was much harder to get the top guys to face each other, okay? Today, it's a lot easier. I see a lot of comments from a lot of people, so I want to be able to address those comments. Hold on one second, guys. I'll come back. He also beat Adrian Broner, 4-divisional world champion. Lucas Matisse, who was the, I believe, WBA regular champion. He also beat Jeff Horn. No, sorry, he lost to Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn will go on to face Terrence Crawford, get annihilated by him, go up to, I think it was middleweight, and have a couple wins, and then get annihilated again. Jeff Horn's not a standout kind of guy, just a guy that was lucky enough to beat Manny Pacquiao. So we'll just leave it at that. He beat also Jesse Vargas, who was 2-time world champion. Timothy Bradley, who was a 3-time world champ. 6-time world champion, something like that. Timothy Bradley's a Hall of Famer. He beat him. He also faced Floyd Mayweather, who was an all-time great and Hall of Famer. He faced Chris Algieri, who was the super lightweight world champion, WBO, I believe it was. He faced Timothy Bradley 3 times. He also faced Brandon Rios, who was the lightweight world champion at a certain point in time. He lost to Juan Manuel Marquez, but he had beaten Juan Manuel Marquez 2 out of the 4 times. Juan Manuel Marquez is an all-time great and is also a Hall of Famer. And I don't need to say much more about Juan Manuel Marquez's career. He also beat Shane Mosley, who is a Hall of Famer. Antonio Margarito, who was at one time feared in the division. He beat Joshua Clark. These are all world champions we're talking about now. We haven't mentioned somebody who's not a world champion. Joshua Clardy was the IBF welterweight world champion at a certain point in time. Miguel Cotto, multiple weight world champion, Hall of Famer. Ricky Hatton, who is going to go into the Boxing Hall of Fame, dominant super lightweight world champion, coming off a loss to Floyd Mayweather. Oscar De La Hoya, all-time great, and also Hall of Famer. This is the kind of caliber of opposition this guy is fighting back to fucking back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just keep it going, though. And then he also faced lightweight world champion David Diaz. Nobody here we're mentioning so far hasn't been a world champion, by the way. Juan Manuel Marquez, he faced, I think this was the first time in several of their exposés. And Marco Antonio Barrera was the number one featherweight in the world at the time. He beat Marco Antonio Barrera. I think this is the second time beating him here. He faced him twice. All-time great legend in Mexican boxing. And he also faced Eric Morales. He faced him, I believe it is twice as well. No, I think 3 times. He had a trilogy with Eric Morales, actually. And Eric Morales, of course, another Hall of Famer and Mexican all-time great. So if you listen to the fucking credentials of these people, if you want me to go into their resumes even, he drew with Juan Manuel Marquez the first time out of the 4 times that they faced each other. This is the first time he beat Marco Antonio Barrera. He blitzed Marco Antonio Barrera. He blitzed his ass. The manner in which Manny Pacquiao also beat these guys at different weight classes. Okay, and I'm using Manny Pacquiao. I don't want to use Floyd Mayweather because y'all like to say, he's a Floyd Mayweather fan, blah blah blah. I don't even have. Let's just leave that alone. Manny Pacquiao. I use Manny Pacquiao as an example because it's so obvious. And I'm not saying that Manny Pacquiao didn't use drugs and juiced and whatever. I agree with that. But I'm just saying that is still something that we don't really have concrete evidence for. So we go off of what we have concrete evidence for. And this is his record. This dude went through friggin' 8 weight classes. Okay? 8 weight. Sorry, my bad. He went across 10 weight classes. He had titles in 8 of the 10 weight classes. He went across 10 weight classes. This fucking crazy motherfucker. All right. And this is another world champion, Jorge Alicia Ulio. You have Agapito Sanchez, who's a tough, rugged Dominican Republic fighter. And he managed to fight to a draw with that because dude was butting him, hitting him low blows. Manny Pacquiao burst on the American scene because of beating Leo Duadwaba, who was the IBF world champion at the time at bantamweight. He was known for the glorious fights with Nate El Hassan. Singh Surratt had stopped him. Chachai Sasaku, who was the man at flyweight, he had been able to stop Chachai Sasaku. So when you look at this motherfucker's body of work, are you saying that Alexander Usyk is higher ranked than him? I mean, because he's beaten a couple undefeated fighters, and come on, the body of work, the extensive amount of work, and this is some of the old schools will say this is why Sugar Ray Robinson is superior to Floyd Mayweather, because Sugar Ray Robinson did so much fucking work, and he's doing it regularly, like he's doing it in these small intervals. Of course, as he goes up the thing and becomes world champion, it spreads out a little bit more, right? But the point is, this is some of the arguments that some people say for the older generations being superior to the modern generations. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have less fights than another guy and be ranked higher up the ATG list because it's the caliber of opposition. All I'm saying, in the case of, like, say, Alexander Usyk, for example, the caliber of opposition is great. It's the best of the best. It's just not enough for me to start propelling. I need to see his career. The problem with some of these guys that actually did so well in their careers is they were able to start their careers earlier, and therefore they were able to have this huge body of work. Manny Pacquiao started his career at 16, right? Floyd Mayweather started at 18, right? These guys became world champion within 2 years. So you're talking Manny Pacquiao at 18 years old is flyweight world champion. Floyd Mayweather, at the age of 19, he was almost 20 when he became world champion. So you started at 19 years old, your career ends somewhere when you're close to 40. You got all this spread of time to be at the top. And Floyd was at the top early and he stayed there. Pacquiao, same thing. Okay, so they got all this huge body of work, and the thing with Floyd and Pacquiao is, okay, Pacquiao had a couple of rematches. Now you look at the old school guys; they would be rematching guys over and over and over and over and over again, like 10 times, sometimes 6 times, whatever. So when you look at it, it's kind of inflated in the sense that if I beat your ass real bad the first time, what am I going to do to you the second time? I'm probably going to steamroll your ass, right? So it's like sometimes the rematches, you know, they make for exciting drama, exciting fights, but they kind of go the same way, okay? Now, in terms of like Jake LaMotta and Sugar Ray Robinson, for example, those were always hotly contested fights. They were always hotly contested fights. It was the classic bull and the matador, right? And there were times when LaMotta really had the better of Sugar Ray Robinson. Sometimes in the fights themselves, LaMotta might come on strong later on and really beat up Sugar Ray Robinson coming out. But Sugar Ray Robinson might come back in the final rounds or the championship rounds and take the fight from LaMotta. But the point is that those were epic battles, and most of the time, Sugar Ray Robinson won those battles, right? And the point behind it, what I'm trying to make with you guys is, generally speaking, why, if I see a guy comprehensively steamroll another guy over, I'm not really interested in seeing a rematch, which most people will say, is because more than likely, especially if the person's good in their boxing knowledge and they've figured out the style the other guy has, it's more than likely it's just going to be more damage. Now, that is not necessarily the case. And we've seen a number of rematches where people turn things around. And I thought, like, for example, Anthony Joshua versus the Mexican guy who became world champion, right? I thought the Mexican guy who became world champion would beat him again. And Anthony Joshua showed me something else and he beat him. You know what I'm saying? So not every single rematch is like that. Boxing is not the most predictable thing in the world. Anything can happen in boxing. But my point is that when you look at somebody like Alexander Usyk, who's figured you out the first time, you're probably not going to beat him the second time. His knowledge is such that he already got a data on you. He fought you once, he beat you. The second time, it's just going to be harder for you to beat him. You know what I mean? It's going to be a tougher challenge for you. You're going to have to mix up some things, you're going to change up some things. And fighters like that, Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Leonard beat your ass. He probably gonna beat you easier the next time. Not in the case of Thomas Hearns, but other than that, I think he's beaten everybody else easier the next time he fought them, right? Um, so my point being that you know back in the day, guys used to rematch guys even more often. I guess it's because the pool of guys or whatever it was. I don't know. But I show you Manny Pacquiao's resume just to say this. Now I see our brother here. You'll be talking a lot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm trying to find a darkened background. Hold on a second. See if I can get a dark background of some kind, and then we'll be able to look at this shit better. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find something dark, and then I'm gonna see your graphics much better. All right, should be able to see it here. Okay, so let me hold on a second. All right, so it should pop up when I come here. Shit didn't pop up. That's crazy. All right, let me turn it off. Let me turn it back on. There you go. I'm not seeing shit. That's crazy. What? That's crazy. What the writing is in black now? What's going on, y'all? I don't know what's going on, y'all. I'm trying to figure it out. Nope, no writing, y'all. This fucking program is shit. I'm sorry about that, guys. I don't even know. I don't know if it's copyright strike or some shit like that. Yeah, man. So anyway, that's what I got for you guys when it comes to boxing. Uh Sorry I couldn't address you guys. I wanted to see what you were saying in the chat, but I can't see the chat the way the program is. I'm gonna do another a stream, probably using StreamYard so I could see your comments and stuff, but there will be no pictures like this stuff. This is from Zack Snyder's Justice League, by the way. Hey, and this is Usyk versus Fury. Yeah, Usyk is landing a right hook on Fury. I guess he threw a straight left and then came back with a right hook that sweeps around Fury's guard. Yeah. Alexander Usyk proves to us that he is a dominant force in the heavyweight division. No doubt about that. No disputing that. He is the number one heavyweight in the division, bar none. He got the hardware and everything for it. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. Don't forget, you can like, share, subscribe the stream to other people. You can also speed up. Well, you can't speed up the stream as it is right now, but you could speed up looking at this stuff if it's already recorded. So when the stream is over, if you want to not take an hour and something minutes to watch this stream, you can just speed it up, okay? That's what I got for you guys. God bless you all. Best for you guys in 2025. You will not be hearing from me until 2025 comes. There'll be no more streams for this year. Those of you who enjoyed the content, why not support this channel? You can support this channel by donating via PayPal. Those of you who are in the Trinidad and Tobago area, don't hesitate to tap into a sponsor, which is LIV Products. You can see, I believe the link, I think the number to call is in the description as well. God bless you all. Best for 2025. Happy New Year to everybody in advance. Tomorrow is Old Year's Day. I'm going to catch you guys later. I am what you